attention wherever you are in the world. Help me welcome our founder, Japadas Bisma. Japa, we are ready for you. Japa, we are ready for you. 200,000 Japa, 200,000 of your downlines around the world waiting to hear your magical voice.
Oh my God, this is so amazing, Batman. I could not imagine how we're pulling this through. In fact, I just arrived on stage in Dubai. It's amazing. It's like I have the in-service here as well. It's like nothing was taken out. It's just like I was watching this, soccer games without the audience, but we're having like a bigger audience, I heard. So it's really amazing. And I just want to say good evening to everyone and welcome to VCon, VConnect. This would be the amazing, it's for me, Batman, this is so historical because we haven't done V-Team, we have not done VCon in this way. This would be the first time. So this is another, history for us. So again, guys, you're witnessing history here. This is very historical for all of us. And I'm very, very happy to see again, for the first time, the last 6 months of lockdown, a lot of my brothers and sisters at the in-service who's always here, always ready to serve their downlines. And it's just amazing, Patman.
Japa, we have...
Welcome, everybody. I'm very excited to, talk to you, be more up close, be inside your home. I'll be talking to your wives, to your husbands, to your father, to your mother, to your children about the kind of business you're into. Because I'm sure a lot of you have not actually spoken to them about the business. So this is I remember that always telling me, Batman, that when you bring in somebody, when you sponsor in somebody into the business, you must involve their family. Because this lazy bugger sometimes would lose motivation, okay? And you need the wives nagging them. When was the last you did sign up? When is your list, prospecting list? When are you gonna be meeting? They need a push from their wives, their husbands, their children. I remember early days that my children, even on a Sunday, would ask me, Papa, how come you're not doing a presentation? I said, hey, give me a break. It's a Sunday, but this is very important. So I'm very excited because I will be able to reach the relatives, the people, the foundation of your lives. The reason we're doing this, okay, the reason you're doing this is because of the people that you love who's right there with you right now, in your home, in your sofas, in your bed, watching this amazing event. So I'm looking forward, Patman, and thank you for the introduction.
Japa, they're waiting to hear more from you. This is. Can Japa hear me?
Yes, I could. I could,
okay.
Patman.
As our tradition, every week on Japa, you tell your downlines, all right, your message, your story, and then Datu Sri will be joining you, all right, in about 15 minutes, and then.
Okay.
Then you tell your story together, which is always confusing and contradicting. So Japa, they're all yours.
Okay, anyway, guys, I didn't know I was going to start my talk, but I'll talk a little bit. Now, the reason we're here, because I met an amazing person, okay, 24 years ago. Okay, 24 years ago. I was living a very, I would say, comfortable. I'm in my comfort zone, just doing my regular day with my family until I met my upline, Datu VJ, who just turned my life upside down. And because there were a lot of things that I never really questioned in my life. I never asked those questions. And when I met VJ, he was very cunning. He was very cunning because he did not we did not do like a formal training. Imagine a one-on-one. I never went into a formal training of the V, or training, the module training that we normally conduct right now for our downlines. So I did not even realize that I was already undergoing some training with him. But all he was doing with me is that he was just asking very relevant questions. Like nobody has asked me those questions. Like, Japa, where are you going to be the next 5 years? What's your plan in the next 10 years? Like, I never thought that far. You know what I mean? I was just like, I would deal a day-to-day. I'm a day-to-day person. But, after those questions, and it was very relevant questions that pretty much made me think, made me focus, that I start realizing that, this life that we have, it's like a big battle. It's like we're in a war. And Vijay was pointing out, the challenges that we face from, our health, the storm. Like, I come from the Philippines, and we get around like 120 storms every year. Earthquakes, volcano, and there's just so much crisis that we face on a day-to-day basis. And I was asked the question, Japa, are you ready for a crisis to happen tomorrow? Well, I said, what are you talking about? He said, are you training today? Are you training? Are you prepared today? Are you training to prepare for something that might happen tomorrow? I said, like, what would happen tomorrow? Like a crisis. Because nobody knows when a crisis would come. So I said, well, I don't know. Am I ready? I'm not sure, because I'm not training today. So he was telling me, this is a problem. Why? Because every day, and I'm telling you this, I'm sharing this with all of you viewers who are my brothers and sisters watching. Okay? Every day must be a training day. Why is that? Because, see, you don't know. Okay, I wanted to go on. You don't know what would face you tomorrow. Just for example, just this crisis that we face. And I remember Dato Vijay would always tell me that, hey, it's not like sometimes I'm in a crisis. I remember before I'm experiencing some crisis in the Philippines, okay? Or in my life, or in my downlines in my business, I would call Dato on the phone, and I would be so like frustrated, angry, and you know how it is when when you're being sort of like in a stressful situation, you're sort of like being attacked, and there's just so many problems you're facing. You feel that there's just a storm, and somehow you're thinking that the storm is just all over the place. But Dato would always remind me, and I would call him from Hong Kong. And you know what he would tell me? He would just smile and laugh. I could hear his, irritating smile on the other side of the phone. And he would tell me, Japa, it's so sunny where I am. It's only stormy where you are. But the storm is not the whole world. It's just where you are right now. But learn how to face it. Because where I am right now, it's all sunny. It's not the end of the world. He would always tell me this. So then it gave me some perspective. Okay? And what was the perspective? Hey, if it's sunny in Hong Kong, if it's sunny almost all over the world except the Philippines, okay, tomorrow I'm sure the sun would rise again. So this is always something that kind of like kept me going. I said, hey, tomorrow, okay, the sun would rise. But I remember I trained. And I'm training. And good thing I started training for this event that's going on, for this crisis that's going on in my life, in my country, in my town, in my society. Whatever crisis is happening right now, I started training yesterday. So VCon is a training ground. Not just a training ground, but every day with your downline, we cannot stop moving. And so I was telling Dato, it's no longer just a storm in the Philippines. This COVID crisis is happening around the world. But we survived it. You know why? Because this COVID-19, me and Dr. Vijay, and Vijay, together with a lot of our leaders, started training us 22 years ago. And because of this training, for 22 years training, we're able to face this COVID-19. Whatever challenges that is bringing us today, this company, the V, Qnet, is able to face this biggest crisis of the century. And why is that? Simply because we started our training 22 years ago. So for all of you who probably is not training, who's not taking seriously your training, okay, some of you are thinking, oh, I'm already making a lot of money, especially these beautiful faces watching me here in Dubai. Oh, I don't need to train anymore. This is not true. You cannot sit on a comfort zone because you don't know what's to happen tomorrow. It could be a health crisis. It could be a financial crisis. It could be any crisis. We have to constantly move. And how do we move? We must engage. I was locked down for 6 months. I just came out of the house today. But I was very happy at home because immediately, it kind of like took me like a day or two to realize, hey, there's a crisis. You know what I mean? I was starting to watch, you know, sometimes when you watch the news and you're so far away from it, it does not hit you, you know? So you watch, you change channel. Pretty much every channel I go to, they're talking about COVID, people dying, this and that. I called people in the company. My flight was stopped. That dawned on me when my flight was stopped. Meaning it was canceled. Emirates canceled my flight to Malaysia. I remember we're going to be having a board meeting, a very important board meeting. And when the airlines, and this is Emirates, okay, when they canceled the flight, oops, it dawned on me. I said, shit, you know what I mean? Can I say that word? I said, oh my God, you know, why is this happening? This is really a crisis. And I've never been in one place. I've never been home like more than 2 weeks. Okay. I would always like be traveling around. Thank you to my partner. He makes sure I'm always engaged. But anyway, what happened? So it started dawning on me. It took me literally a week to accept there's a COVID, there's a crisis. And there's some form of like, what do you call this? Denial. Oh, it's going to get better in next week. It's going to get better next week. I'm sure the airlines cannot stop like all the flights. They're going to go bankrupt. My God, the week passed, second week passed, third week passed, and you start seeing all airlines shutting down, malls shutting down. The whole world started shutting down. So Vijay immediately started engaging. He called me right away. Japa, we gotta do something now. This is this crisis has come. And now the question is, how do we connect to our people? Because it's very important for us, for our survival, personal survival. I'm just talking about myself here, not as a founder. I'm not talking about the company, okay? Just my personal survival immediately, instinctively taught me, because what I've learned from Dr. Vijay is that I must immediately engage with someone. So I started family meetings on Zoom. First time I learned about Zoom was through family Zoom meetings. Then it became IR meetings, V partners meetings. Then it became a Zoom directors meeting, and ended up every day. And this is amazing. For every day, I would spend 6 to 7 hours. And I've never worked that hard for the last, I would say, 5 years until I stepped down as GMD. 7 hours every day, I would be Zoom with JR, with the Qnet, and there's like, people access me more in the company. I would even have mentoring session. But see, guys, it kept me alive. Why? Because I was engaging.
And I was having a purpose. I was motivating downlines. I was motivating people. And because I'm doing some form of engagement and sparring. You know what? In martial arts, we call it sparring. And how do you get good in taekwondo or any form of martial arts? How do you learn how to fight? By sparring. How do you spar? On a daily basis, you have to fight. You get kicked, you get hurt, but still you get up, you fall down, you get up, you fight, you exchange, exchange, and you get good at it. But it takes some time. But the engagement must be there. There's no question of just learning martial arts, the form in theory, and not applying it. So a lot of us, we've heard, and we've been attending trainings, we've been attending talk seminars, and a lot of us are so wise in a lot of these network marketing principles. But unless we engage with our downlines, you're not going to get good at it, because theories is not enough. We have to actually put it in practice. So I realized that even while I was home, okay, I could engage. While I was hearing actors in Dubai jumping off their building, people committing suicide. And I was like wondering, what the hell? Why are they doing this? It's because they just lost purpose. They thought it's end of the world. But there's no such thing as end of the world. Because see, the world would continue to move. It's just in a different direction. You know what ended? Their world. And what is this world? Your world is this consciousness that you have. And what's amazing with this world that you have, you carry it with you everywhere you go. You carry it with you. So if you're living in a world of crisis and you don't know how to handle, that crisis is simply happening here. Of course, there is COVID happening outside. But there might be crisis outside. If the crisis you have is here, okay, that is more of a difficult crisis to fight with. Crisis outside, you could fight easily. But the crisis you have here, the fears that you have here, the fears you have in your consciousness, sleeps with you, walks with you, goes to the toilet with you, okay, drinks tea with you, goes with you when you're with your wife, your children, family. It goes with you everywhere you go. And when you're left alone, it becomes end of your world. And that's why people break down. But not with us. Not with you. Why is that? Because see, you have to engage. And how do you bring this crisis? How do you become strong fighting the crisis inside? You know, that's why they're saying that the real battle, the real holy battle we have is inside. The battle with your frustration, your anger, your everything. And this crisis simply aggravates all of these things that is already there, but we don't know how to tame it. We don't know how to tame our anger, our fear, our frustration, and all of these things which cause us to fail. In fact, failure simply happens here. So this VCon, okay, we want to share with you, despite the so-called crisis that we're facing outside, which is, in fact, I heard it's very wonderful because all the animals started coming out in the parks. I had friends like Perminda would be messaging me outside of his house in Australia. There's like kangaroos like taking over the parks. There are turtles. I mean, even in my place in Dubai, there's like, I've never seen like parrots, parakeet, beautiful parrots are in my trees, on my trees. They're just like there eating dates. And so the world is rejoicing outside because there was somehow a break. So some people might be seeing that, okay, this crisis is terrible, whereas in fact, it's also a blessing because it gave us a break It allowed us to strategize. It made us rethink our priorities and stuff. But see, the bad situation, the terrible situation is this, that during this crisis, and we're still on the crisis, if you're just going to be watching Netflix, eating chips, eating popcorn, getting fat in your house, not doing anything, and just being a bum in your house, then that's the most dangerous thing. That's the most dangerous thing, because it's so difficult to get out of that comfort zone. Why am I still passionate today? Like every time I see, and you could feel every time I'm in Zoom with, the people I talk to, I'm always very passionate about it. Why? Because from the very beginning, every day I'm practicing, I'm engaging. I could not imagine today, let's say for 6 months, I didn't do anything. No engagement at all. I don't think I could even come on the VCon stage talking to a camera in front of like 200,000 people I heard, and I would probably I would be so nervous. Why? Because I didn't have practice. But the good news, guys, I'm in top shape. Okay. Right now, physically, I'm in top shape. I'm in mentally top shape, spiritually top shape. Why? Because I never stop sparring. I never stop engaging. Thank you to my friend, Dr. Vijay. He made sure that I will be engaged. I would have calls from people that would never call me before. Okay, because Dato threw them. Call Japa. He'll solve this for you. Call him. He's like, I said, the hell, I don't get to break right now. You know what I mean? So Zoom has become my medium for training, and make it your medium. I don't know how long this, I came here wearing a mask. And I think a lot of you, I saw some videos of all of you, you're not practicing social distancing. But here in Dubai, we're so strict. Even the in-service, they're so far apart with each other. They were wearing masks. They had to test me, you know what I mean? They got my temperature coming here. And they, even before they brought the mic with me, they had to sanitize it with alcohol, wipe it 12 times before they on a normal, previously you will be like, what the hell? I'm not, I'm not a pariah. I'm not, you will get offended when, people wear masks in front of you. But today, guys, this is the new normal. And it's amazing. It's great because now we're more careful of, we're more concerned, which we should be, in passing on whatever virus or disease. So I think this is going to be a normal for quite some time. But guys, it is not a reason for us to sit down and relax. What is relaxation? This is relaxation for us. Relaxation is that can you relax during a battle? Can you put your guard down during battles, during a war? The world is constantly in war. We are constantly in war. So we could relax, but at the same time, our guard is always up. And that's my advice to everybody. So VCon, guys, is we're gonna slap your faces. We're gonna wake you up, okay? We're going to tell you to engage, to move. You have to move. We're going to spar with you. We're going to throw you questions, okay, that probably you've never answered before. And we would be right on your faces during this VCon. So please, guys, okay, it's not that I'm trying to be arrogant here, but we would be very hard. I mean, hard in terms of, getting across. We want to get across points. This VCon is not just some show face, rah thing, but we have a simple message here. Okay? That one, the simple theme of the message during this VCon is Ubuntu, which means I am because we are. It means togetherness. I cannot be successful alone. You cannot do this alone. You need us, just like we need you. So this VCon, we would want to shake hands, hold together, and form togetherness, form oneness, okay? because we want you to know that you might be feeling alone at home right now. You might have lost jobs. You might have lost businesses. There might be major crisis that you're facing today. Guys, be grateful. You're still breathing. You're alive with your family and all of these things. It's not end of the world. We have a system. This engagement that we're doing with you right now, okay, is your key to success. So take it, okay? So I think, Batman, I'll reserve some of the powerful talk,
They're going to be hearing you for
talk.
2 more days.
I'll give it to you.
Haribol
Thank you so
Japa.
much.
Thank you, Japa, am I on?
Yes, you're on, Batman.
Okay.
I could hear you.
I'm just checking. Haribol Japa,
Haribol,
Weekon,
Batman.
all right, wherever you are right now.
I'm like talking to God because the sound coming from heaven. I don't see a face.
No, Japa.
You're
not
really
talking to God. You're talking to your downline.
This is a bit like
God is your upline.
Like I'm hearing from the sky, the sound.
Well, firstly, Japa, I have to comment. Your mustache has taken you to another level of youthfulness.
Now that's a COVID look because I forgot to shave. I've not gone out to shop for a shaving kit.
and to all of you watching around the world, Japadas Bismarck is one of the few men who never age. When I met him 22 years ago and I see him today, they look like identical twins. And I'll never forget when Japa was edified to us in Malaysia. The first edification that he's a martial arts expert, all right? And we all said, okay, Kung Fu master coming to teach us about network marketing. Then secondly, as Datuk Sri Vijay always edifies Japa as the master of one-on-one, which we took 1 year to understand what it actually meant. And finally, when Japa came to Malaysia in the Shah Alam Hotel, I'll never forget, Perm was there, Kalai was there, in a Shah Alam Hotel, and Japa came up on stage. My first thought is, why does this man not have any hair? All right, my first thought, okay? And Japa gave one of the most brilliant network marketing answers. He said for years, he was finding a solution not to lose hair and became mentally frustrated. And one day, he shaved it off, all right, and became free. So those of you who are losing hair, not hinting at any V partner or QI director, those of you losing hair, just take it off and be free. Thank you, Japa. You're going to come back shortly, Japa. We're going to see you in a few minutes.
Oh, okay.